Howdy hey, friends, foes, and Alan. Welcome to another episode of Zero's Game Ramblings, this time featuring the talk of the town, or at least talk of the kids born in the early 2000s, Five Nights at Freddy's, a horror game that reinforces our parents' least favorite fact that if you put your screen down, ever, you will die. Let's get into it. Five Nights at Freddy's was released in 2014 by Scott, and I will pronounce this wrong, Cathon, previously acclaimed for some of the most terrifying looking Christian kids movies and games that I have ever seen.
You're just in time to help with the chores.
But
I know, dear. You like to hit things with your little hammer. Here you go. One bucket is for food, the other is for poop.
What are you feeding these animals anyway?
Wrong bucket, dear.
Yeah.
Like really, this guy found his niche in the uncanny valley long before he ever touched horror. But hey, he does what he knows best.
Here.
That away, Shem. Show that turtle who's boss.
Don't make me come in there, because I will.
Five Nights at Freddy's inspired a large number of sequels, spin-off media, and even a recent movie, causing a massive resurgence in its popularity. Now, I haven't seen it, mostly because I don't want my money going to the guy that uses it to give thousands of dollars to people who want to get rid of me and my pals, but from the bits and bobs I've seen on TikTok, it seems like a pretty fun interpretation that's getting people into the series. I'm debating what to take a bite out first, the game, the programming, or the genre itself. I think I'll start small and touch on the programming, which I think I have the least divisive opinion on. Programming is neat. Yeah, I'll give it a positive here. It's bare bones for sure, but for something developed by one guy, it makes for an interesting experience. Starting the game, you have to take hints and advice from the guy on the phone tutorializing your face while he still has his, to try to figure out how the animatronics work. Their threat starts slow and then ramps up as you move along the game's titular 5 nights. Now when I say ramps up, I'd say night 1 is a leisurely stroll in the park, night 4 is having to cross Walmart on a Black Friday, and night 5 is— Truck-kun, what are you doing here? It's basic, it's easy, and it's mostly RNG getting affected slightly by player actions, but from what I've seen, its popularity has gotten a lot of the youth into programming, and that's always a net positive. But here's where we get our hands a bit dirtier. Now, just a little bit about the game, I don't think that a game based on jump scares is a very positive experience for anybody. Like, it's like, ooh, good for you, you have a startle reflex, you're scared. Maybe I'm just worried because I'm a bit of a baby when it comes to them. Let's just launch right into the genre and talk about the game like a nice piece of parsley on the side, Gotta get that rambling in. I've got feelings on the horror genre and they will no longer be contained. Remember my video on stream integration and how modern and reaction media was the cornerstone of marketing for games in this day and age? I hope you don't. I made that like 7 months ago, and in YouTube time, that's like a million years. I don't want anyone looking at my old art. You should never look at an artist's old art to gauge where they're at now.
Look at all of the animals. Does this mean that it's almost time for us to get on the ark, too? What? Right now? Can I eat first? Sandwich?
Let's take another game as an example of this genre. Take Hello Neighbor, a game whose original testing revealed a fight against an AI that was learning from your mistakes as you learned from theirs, creating a puzzle environment that never remained static for long with a key NPC that learned to counter your gameplay style the more you lost. It gained fame and acclaim based on this test and soon morphed into a game that, didn't have its entire core conceit, instead becoming about vague hints of lore and an intentionally obtuse story that the game never bothers to clear up at all. Each new level of Hello Neighbor is more and more of a confusing Alice in Wonderland style menagerie where every deeper level gets less and less comprehensible, and you have to try to grapple with your remaining shreds of sanity just to try to tell what you're supposed to be doing. Fellow business majors will know what I mean. I just realized I made that sound metal as hell, but it is not metal. It's just weird and unhelpful. See, a key way to advertise a game now is to get people to talk about it, and with the rise of game theory videos, one of the best advertising techniques is to get content creators talking about your game. Doesn't matter how, as long as it's popular, and the vaguer your lore, the more easy it is to make people question and come together to discuss it. Get out of here, Soul series, I love you too much to pretend you're not doing the same thing. But point is, it's effective. Suddenly it's marketable and make games as confusing as possible to try to bait people into discussing it. Sense isn't mandatory, and thus the same thing has happened with Five Nights at Freddy's, with its vague Easter eggs and pointing to something bigger than itself. It was one of the most popular games to do this successfully. It drip feeds one game's worth of lore through over a dozen video games, 3 books, author commentary, and other standalone media, so when viewers write their own explanations, they are just as likely to be accepted as canon because no one has the time or memory to go through all of that, milking a cash cow for all it's worth while giving the audience very little to go off of. But well, here's where I counter my own point. Does that matter? There are thousands of people that this game brought joy to. People who loved getting together, taking every hint they could find, dissecting lore when new stuff came out, dressing up, and meeting all based on the love of the game, though I wish they'd picked a game by a better creator to do it for. And they do it for just about any game in the genre. What is entertainment if not a form given to a vehicle for joy? Is it a failure just because it doesn't conform to my standards? Yes. Yes, it is. I am a hater and I'm never giving that up.
You know, we're living in a society.
What do you think? What does Five Nights at Freddy's mean to you? Do you also feel this way about the genre? Or am I just full of wrong? Let me know in the comments, throw a like and subscribe my way, and I'll see you in a Springtrap suit.
Freddy, you're supposed to be on lockdown.
Vanessa, I'm a material girl.